drink. Or, let's get together, tell me about it. Oh, how could she have done that? How could he have said such a thing? Look, don't worry, you're a beautiful person, you'll find someone else. Hey, I've got someone working with me, he's been looking at you for months. What do you say I connect us? Maybe we'll have dinner together. Friends try to fix one another. Friends try to address the pain of frightened parts of the personality. Parts that are angry, jealous, fearful. But that doesn't help change you. A spiritual partner will say something like, a spiritual partner could say, where are you feeling that? What are you feeling in your chest? What are you feeling in your solar plexus? What are you feeling in your throat area? A spiritual partner might say, what was your intention when you just said what you said? A spiritual partner might say, do you intend to remain this way? There's no formula, but a spiritual partner will always help you to recognize the interior dynamic that you are experiencing in the moment, rather than follow the interest of the frightened parts of your personality, which are looking outward at circumstances or someone else. Are you following me? Such a person is precious. That person can't do your work, and you can't do that person's work, but you can support one another. A spiritual partner will be committed to supporting you in your own spiritual growth, and that means that person won't be dissuaded by your tears, or your anger, or your irritability, because that person is committed to helping you. Now, if you say, leave me alone, I don't want to change, just stop it, of course your spiritual partner will stop. But if you continue to hold that position, your partnership will disintegrate, because a spiritual partnership has as its purpose for being spiritual growth. And if you don't want to grow spiritually, then the dynamic can't continue. It's nothing personal, it's an energy dynamic. So this is another way of saying that spiritual partners stay together as long as they grow together. When it comes to creating authentic power, it's not a should. There is no should. You don't get punished if you don't create authentic power, or rewarded if you do. If you don't create authentic power, if you don't look inside yourself every time you get upset or angry or jealous or have a craving or an addictive longing, then you won't change. It's not that you get punished or you get sent to hell or any other place. You stay right where you are, experiencing the same thing over and over and over, and it's painful. And if you do decide to change, it's not that you get rewarded and get sent to a heaven, but you start to change. You start to move from a victim to a creator. You move from an experiencer of your life into an experimenter with your life. You start to become an artist, and your life is the canvas. You become a composer, and your life is the music. Until then, you'll be asking somebody else to paint your canvas or compose your music. And you'll be angry with them if they don't, or if they compose or paint something you don't like. And you'll try to change them. So, that's the good news. The good news is that the power to change your life is in your hands, and your hands alone. That's also the scary news. That was the most frightening insight I've had in my life. I had it when I was healing my sexual addiction. When I realized I'm not going to get rewarded for this, it's not a better thing or a worse thing to do. Worst thing to do. It's what I want to do. And it may be that this isn't the right time for me to do it, and I'm not going to be judged if that's the case. Maybe I should continue to learn through this way of learning a while longer. Maybe my comfort is more important to me than anything else. Maybe sex is more important to me. Maybe recognition is more important to me. But when you begin to entertain the idea that you want to change because you want to change, because it's important to you to change, because something is pulling you or attracting you toward your own health, your own potential, your own dynamism, your own meaning, your own fulfillment, and you start to move in that direction, no matter what it takes, then you are on a spiritual path. By the way, this book also contains the Spiritual Partnership Guidelines. I suggest you get the book, but I also suggest that you go to our website and print these out. Not the whole book, just the Spiritual Partnership Guidelines. And the Spiritual Partnership Guidelines are guidelines that will help you change yourself, not change the other person. That's what I mean when I say some people you can't create a spiritual partnership with, but you can create authentic power no matter who you're with. For example, one of the guidelines is to be in your integrity. What difference does what someone else what someone else does or doesn't do, have to do with whether you stay in your integrity or not? One of the guidelines is to learn about yourself from everything that you experience, especially when you're upset. Well, what does what someone else does or doesn't do have to do with your learning about yourself from the experience? It's that way with all of the guidelines, every one of them. We could have called them the Authentic Power Guidelines just as easily. So instead we called them the Spiritual Partnership Guidelines. Because by following them, you will begin to attract others to you who are interested also in substantive and deep relationships, who are interested in increasing their own awareness and deepening it, who are interested in making the healthiest choices that they can. And as those people come to you, the potential for a spiritual partnership exists between you and them. Did I ever define authentic power in terms of what it feels like? It feels good. It feels as good as you can imagine. It feels natural. It feels comfortable. It feels satisfying, more than satisfying. It feels gratifying. Have you ever had a time in your life when you knew that you were in the zone, that what you were doing was just right, that you were doing exactly what you should be doing, and you lacked for nothing? Everything was perfect as it was. That's the experience of authentic power. Maybe you've had it writing a book, like I've had sometimes. Maybe you've had it painting a canvas. Maybe you've had it nursing a child or cooking a meal for a friend. When suddenly you were fully engaged and engaging. You were in the moment. And all was well with the world. And you knew it. That's the experience of authentic power. That is the experience that you were born to create now. And that's the experience that needs to be created by you, in order to evolve, and in order for our species to evolve. Now the relationship between those two, your evolution and the evolution of the species, is something else that we'll go into, maybe in the next talk. But I wanted to give you these things to consider. So the next time you're upset, try landing the plane on the runway using the length of it instead of the width of it. And you'll find that your relationships will be extraordinarily challenging and sometimes extraordinarily painful. Why is that? Not more painful than they have been in the past when friends didn't live up to your expectations, but they may seem more painful because now you're intent on putting your awareness onto everything that you're feeling, and fear hurts. Whether it's anger, jealousy, despair, mania, superiority, inferiority, it hurts. But it will also be more rewarding than any relationship you might now be able to imagine, because when your spiritual partners are really being spiritual partners to you, they're not being clinical, they're not being harsh, they're not being formulaic, but they care about you. And they know that the best thing that they can do for your health is to become healthy themselves, not to act on frightened parts of their personalities. And this happens in your relationships, especially your intimate relationships, all the time, when you are in a frightened part of your personality, angry, jealous, resentful, irritable, and then your partner reacts to your reaction. Have you ever experienced anything like that? And then you react to your partner's reaction. And then you're both into it. It's like stepping into insanity together. And it can be very destructive. All of us have experienced how destructive that can be. It can also be constructive. You can also use those challenging times to change yourself. I'm going to end in a few minutes so that those of you who'd like to stay and ask questions, or we can be a little more intimate, can do so. And we're going to hand out some things to you. One of them is this, the Spiritual Partnership Guidelines. And don't forget, I think we have enough. If we don't, just print them out from seatofthesoul.com. Print out a lot of them. Put them on your fridge, on your mirrors. Put them on the toilet seat cover. Put them on the oven door. Put them, no, maybe you should do that. But look at them. Remind yourself of how good it is to set the intention to make all of your communications conscious and loving. We're going to give you this handout, Authentic Power versus External Power, so that you can think about it some more. And see for yourself if it's so. You know, don't take anything that I say as so just because I've said it. And I suggest that you never take anything that anyone says or writes just because it's said or written. Creating authentic power means you become the authority in your own life. And only you can do that. Only you can have a dream and decide in the morning whether that's worthwhile your remembering or not, and write it down or let it go. Only you can have an insight, a flash of awareness about something that you hadn't seen before, and that's important that you see, and then decide to write it down or not write it down. You decide what's important to you. Here's a daily practice for consulting intuition. Now, we haven't talked too much about intuition. Maybe we'll do that in the next talk. But intuition is a part of multisensory perception. 5-sensory people don't think much about intuition. They think maybe it's a curiosity. But multisensory humans know that it's a new decision-making faculty that is replacing rationalization. And then we're going to give you the benefits of spiritual partnership. All of these things are in the book too, by the way. And then for those of you who want it, we're going to give you this flyer if we have enough of them. This is a 5-day retreat that Linda and I do. This year it's going to be outside of Portland, Oregon on Mount Hood, called the Journey to the Soul, July 24th to 28th. And we're going to go into all of the things that I've been talking about, except that we're going to really go into them. And you'll be able to experiment with them and try them out for yourself and in the company of potential spiritual partners, of people who are striving for the same thing. Oh, and there's one more thing we have. This is a staying connected form. If you'd like to stay connected, please fill one of these out so that we can stay connected. Because we don't get your information from the expo, as far as I know. And we don't want it. We just want to stay connected with you if you want to stay connected, if you want to be supported. Because everything that we do to support people in creating authentic power. We have a website that I mentioned, seatofthesoul.com. It's got interviews on it, it's got free tools. We hope soon it will have an online course. Please come to it. See if there's anything there. It's got free videos. So before we close, oh, wait a minute. I would like to introduce you to Linda Francis. because she came with me today. Beloved, would you mind coming up and saying hello for a minute?
Oh, beautiful. How nice to see you. I'm Linda, and I'm really happy to be here. Gary and I usually teach together, but today Gary was speaking, and I just loved it, just to be able to listen. It was so beautiful. And it's so good to see all of you here. I'm really excited. And I hope you'll come and get the handout so you can practice what Gary's been talking about and read the book. And we have other books too. Gary and I wrote a couple of together. One is called Heart of the Soul, Emotional Awareness. Lots of practice and lots of ways to learn about emotional awareness, which isn't so easy to learn. It's taken me a long time to really be able to feel everything in my body, because I used to think that I was very emotional, but I used my emotions, just spread them out all over everyone. But that's not emotional awareness. And we also wrote a book called The Mind of the Soul together. And so glad to see all of you. And I hope you'll come up and get some of the information that we have for you and fill out a Staying Connected form. We'd love to spend some more time with you. So, thanks, beloved.
So, if any of you have books that you'd like to sign, we don't have any for sale here, but I'd love to sign your books. And if you'd like to get one of these, is that how we're going to do it? People will, if they want one of these packets, we're going to have them for them. Yeah, we'll have them here. So just come up and ask either Deborah or Donna if you'd like one. Now I have a friend from the South that I've gotten to know, and he says something that always touches my heart whenever we leave him. And so I'm going to say it to you. I love you deep. And I'm looking forward to meeting you. If you have time to stay for another 10 or 15 minutes, please come and stay with Linda and me and say hello.